Hello everyone, Amanda Brett here, watercolour artist from Auckland, New Zealand, and I am here today. I am playing with mixing greys as an article that I wrote recently that you might have read and is now on my network site amandabrettwatercolourstudents.ning, N-I-N-G, which you can get to from my website. This is new to me, so I have to think about it. This is you can get it through my website, which is amandabrett.net, www.amandabrett.net, and you can become a member for free. Anyway, I'm mixing greys, and I started off with a little bit of sludge on my palette, so whatever was on my palette, and I've already mixed it, beg your pardon. I think it was a little bit of this Windsor blue, and that in itself is actually quite a nice grey, isn't it? So I think there's also some white, opaque white designer's gouache on my palette as well. There always is, because I love it. Okay, so here's my first grey that I'm fooling around with, quite a light value. Let's mix a darker value. So this is Windsor blue red shade, and a little bit of alizarin. This is a standard grey that I mix. Alizarin crimson, purple it up a bit, not too purple, more blue than purple. That's beautiful in itself, look at that. And then I add just a touch of burnt sienna just to neutralize it. There we go, look at that. Quite delicious. They are different, it's hard to tell, but they are actually quite different. I'm just going to slip in another. There we go. That's beautiful, isn't it? Now I've also got these pinks on my palette, just because I've been fooling around with this today. This is a couple of new colours, and I've got some things in mind, I hope, and just trying to work out what will my palette be and how will I work. So that's why this pink is sitting here on my palette. So this is sludge with permanent rose and a bit of quinacridone violet. Look at that grey there, fairly delicious. Little bit of yellow ochre. So as long as I go for complementaries, I'm going to have quite an interesting mix of greys. So this is whatever that mix was there. It was Windsor blue red shade, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, and I've mixed in a little bit of, tiny bit of yellow ochre. Ooh, fairly delish. Ooh, I love mixing a grey or any colour and then adding in, or what I should say is not mixing properly, not making a thorough mix. I think that's why watercolour is thought of as a difficult medium. It's like making scones. Have you ever baked scones and your mother said don't touch them? It's the same thing with watercolour. Don't touch it. Exactly like scones. Sorry, my table's a bit wobbly. Okay, so I've got this quite opaque green here on my palette. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to add in a little bit of this quinacridone violet. Let's see what happens. Ooh. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Holy moly, look at that. Stunning grey. But of course, it depends on the palette that you're using for your painting today. And it's all very well and good for me to show you these different mixes, but what's in your palette today? What colours are you painting with today? Are you, oh, look at my big fat hand sticking in there. Sorry, darlings. I forgot the camera was on. From the colours that you are mixing in your painting today is where you should make your mixes for your greys. So, of course, the sky's the limit for that. If you've got French ultramarine, mine's a little bit dry, it hasn't been used for a little bit, been badly treated for a while. Alizarin crimson, there it is there. Alizarin. Did I say that right? I didn't say that right. Sorry, got things on my mind. French ultramarine, alizarin crimson, it's got enough in there. For a violet, there's the violet. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of burnt sienna to knock it back a little bit. It's quite an interesting dark violet-y grey. Oh, let's do this. Ooh. I will swear to you that I spend all my life going, ooh, ah. Okay, so if you've got in your palette that you're mixing with your colours today, you've got maybe cobalt blue. I often start with the blue. I've always got a blue in my palette. That's not really true, but you know where I'm coming from. There's cobalt blue, a little bit of permanent rose. Ooh, pretty. And then a bit of that sludgy stuff there. Actually, it's not too different, is it? Normally, cobalt blue would be quite a lot lighter. So I've obviously got a trickle of all sorts of goodies from my palette diving in there. So I think you could also say that any sludge that is not too over mixed from your palette is going to mix you a very interesting grey. So did you see that? I just went like that. Yeah? Can you see that from where? I hope I've got the camera in the right place. Let me do it again. Sweet. Okay, let's just dump that in. Okay, so you know the sky's the limit, but essentially the recipe would be a blue, a red and a yellow and versions of. Now the reason I like Windsor blue, alizarin crimson and burnt sienna, or French ultramarine, alizarin crimson and burnt sienna, is because they're mostly fairly transparent and I like the mixes. Having said that, let's have a crack at this. This is cadmium red and a little bit of phthalo blue. It's gone too far. I need more cad red. Look how beautiful that is. And I'm sure that you know this mix, which is very, very beautiful. French ultramarine with a little bit of burnt sienna. It was quite browny. Oh, look at that. And look how dark and rich it is. So therefore, if I've got a lot less water and a lot more paint, there it is. Jolly close to a black. I like to call them darks and greys, and I do that because as soon as I say black, people say to me, oh, well, what black shall I buy? Don't buy black. Don't waste your money on a black. Just learn how to mix your colours. You will learn far more about watercolour by learning how to mix a grey than in many other gimmicky ways of painting. Blacks have their place. It's not for beginners. I have got blacks. There it is there. It's crusty and dry. Can you see it? Hold on, you can't see it. Which one is it now? Hold on, there's two there that are dry and nasty. That one there, which is fairly dry and nasty, and it's not really sure what it is. It's possibly neutral tint. And obviously from the state of it in my palette, it doesn't get used very much. If you want to neutralize a color, and maybe you've got, for example, what's this, transparent orange, which is a little bit on the happy side, but maybe you want it to be a little bit less happy, then just sneak out a little bit of it's opposite on the color wheel. Oh, so I should have gone green. Beg your pudding. There we go. There, that's knocked it back even more. Look at that. And if I keep mixing in a little bit of green into that orange, I end up with a grey, browny, sludgy something. I love sludge. But emphasis on less mixing is more. It's so much nicer to be able to see all the blends and the mixes And the gradations, look at that beautiful gradation. Yay, and I didn't even have to work at it. And all this lost and soft edges, lost and found. It's just stunning. Green and purple complementary colours, or secondary colours to each other. It's so much more fun to play that way. So have a look at my new watercolour network for students, free to join. And have a look at my blog. There is somewhere in there. Set up your own page, ask me some questions, start up some conversation. It's all about networking. It's all about support for each other, especially in these times of, you know, a lot of people being isolated at home, can't get to a class anymore. So let's make our own class online. Start off on my website, www.amandabrett, and look for the members page and go through there. I think there must be an easier way to tell you that, but I haven't sorted that out yet. Have a fab day, guys. Go and paint and show me what you're painting. Have a good day. Bye.